Welcome, one and all, to this beautiful Monday night game between the Parramatta Eels and the Manly Seagulls. Here to kick off round 4. Lucas said, Max Patel Pocket with you. The Parramatta Eels and the Manly Seagulls, a rivalry renewed after 3 seasons away. In 2.0, we have now the Parramatta Eels making their return to face off against their former rival. Max, it's been a long road for the Parramatta. They finally got their first one on the board, but Manly have had an even worse start. How do you think these teams are going to try and get either their first or second win on this board?
Hey, Luca, thanks for having me. First of all, hey, look, I can't look past the Eels for this one. I think they're going to do the job tonight. Manly just need to tidy up some areas if they're going to have a show tonight, have a chance. But yeah, I can't see the Eels losing tonight.
Yeah, it's been a tough road thus far for Manly. Of course, they did have a late loser in round 2, thanks to the try of Lucas said against the Canberra Raiders as we get things underway here with Tyler Hayden. Of course, the last time these teams faced off was Season 7 of SRL 1, where a Creed Alex Chapman hat-trick resulted in a victory. Of course, no more Creed throughout the SRL for other reasons, but of course, Luke Short and Anthony McDonald making their return to the Eels side as Short there receives a forward pass from Patrick Belova. And already the Manly find themselves with a front foot here with Nathan Kennard-Wall taking their first hit up. Of course, Ethan Goodwin finds himself on the other side of this matchup, but Brad Goodwin was a part of that winning Eels side. Here's Lennox Prakash taking a hard run up the middle, looking to the short side now with Kennard-Wall. He has been a frequent runner so far here for the Sea Eagles. Perhaps that over-reliance on the half has resulted in not many kicking opportunities, why they have not had that lethal of an offense. Here goes James Reese going way short to the line. Is held up there on the 4th, ruled short, so no bunker review this time. Bennett, a quick crash play, but well defended there. That was a good tackle there from McDonald, the captain, to make sure they stay out of that. Kennard-Wall hit hard there, and McDonald there to sweep up the crumbs before he can get that grubber off. And Parramatta survived the early scare following the early Belova error.
Yeah, high intensity so far, isn't it? With both teams showing they want to get the ball to their good players, their star players straight away to make some impact.
I've seen how much of an impact
footage to watch so far.
Yeah, we've seen how much of an impact Luke Short has had as Downey there gets a late offload there away to Jack Jimmy. No one around him as the Manly liner is pretty much already setting up for that early play. Curtin there takes a nice scoop from dummy half. Nelly is able to take advantage, but quickly wrapped up there just shy of a 30-meter line. We're going to have to put in a quick punt here. Coxie there in an acting half. Notably, he has the start here with Simon Hunt being dropped to the bench. He kicks down at Square Jr. Square Jr., however, has been given a lot of breathing space. He's going to be trying to shut down here by Short. They're cutting across the field here. Short has a little bit of a meter advantage. He will get the arms down, but right away, Manly have put themselves right on the front foot inside the Eels 10. Hunter will flick it out for Morrison. Morrison now for Brad Goodwin. He also gets his start. He puts a step on, but it's 3 defenders that come around onto that short side and wrap him up. Very flat ball there for Cody Ogg, but it's right into the Eels line. They quickly wrap him up on tackle 3. Here goes Hunter now out of the line. He tries to take on McDonald, getting a lot of room to work with. Eventually, he's brought down, but is only a meter shy. Quick crash balls for Kennard-Wall. He's only got one man involved, and it's going to get this one down right near the sticks. Nathan Kennard-Wall makes the Seagulls pay thanks to that brilliant break from Marcus Square Jr.
Yeah, what a try there, wasn't it? And Marcus Square, great run. He made sort of probably 70 metres there, really put them on the front foot. And it's good to see Aaron Hunter there on that 4th tackle. Looked like he wanted to kick it, but he decided, no, I'm just going to settle it here and run it. He didn't want to make any more errors. He had 5 last week, and there's got it out for a 5th tackle play. And yeah, what a great finish that was. The strength of the halfback.
It was a tough ask there as well for Filippo Gall. He just didn't get much help there. Admittedly, we did see a lot of missed tackles from the Eels. Kodar Diab, I believe, had a... Wait, no, Kodar Diab's not on this team. I have the wrong stats here. Hang on. I'm going to now flick through my other notes here. Anyway, as we were saying earlier, it has been that kind of game where Aaron Hunter has been an almost offensive liability, but that time, I think he's just been given the lesson here from Jordan Lewis. Just tidy things up. They just need to stay within the fundamentals of the game, and that will force the errors out of the defense rather than your attack, as he takes a one-up run just off the kick return. Doesn't like to try and
I
throw
mean,
it
he's going
ball.
back fence now, running, so he's certainly wanting to keep things tidy.
Yep, and he does not want to keep anyone in this game. So here goes Lewis now. Lewis, of course, has moved into the props from last week. Didn't really get much of a chance to talk about the list changes, but there have been several for Manly with Hal Stewart, formerly a starting winger, now moving to the bench. Here goes Brad Goodwin, as mentioned, into the lineup and really injecting a burst of speed as he puts himself into Eels territory. Wilson will find Og, gives up a floater ball there for Lewis. Not going to give him much of an advantage to try and hit the line with speed, but a good post-contact run. Just give him outside the 30. Hunter with a cross-field kick. Picks out Ethan Goodwin. And Goodwin given a lot of space himself. He sheds off one tackle, but it's a quick ankle tap in return there from, I believe it was Jacob Morrison. So Coxie now finds Gould, and the Eels look to roll on with him. Of course, he did not technically conceding that try. Probably could have been able to upturn Nathan Kennard-Wall, but no help was given by his fellow Eels. McDonald there on the third. Didn't really have many options there. Belova fires one out for short. Quick pass out for Hayden, but it's a very long one. Probably held too long in the air for them to really do anything about it. Trying to spread that one through the line. Here's Downey. He'll just take the one-up run this time around. Didn't have many options to offload there. It was quickly met at the arms. And good attacking kick territory, but it's way back there for Belova, and he has to call an audible. Instead, just kicks one right down to Square Junior. He puts on another step and eventually dragged down just outside his own 20. A set that could have threatened there for Parramatta, but not really much doing that time, as there's a hit laid on by Gould on Logan Strange. It's now Lewis. He looks to try and take revenge on Gould himself, but not able to get very far through that one. Wilson does a very nice scoot there, runs over one, tries to run his way through short. Is not going to do much there, though, and with the help of McDonald, also two prominent Eels leadership figures, both past and present. Here's a intended ball there for Square Junior, I think, but Kennard-Wall picks it out, and that will bring up the last tackle. Here's a Wilson now, fires one out to Prakash. Prakash with the ball. He puts up an absolute spiral of one. Cooper Speedman is there to try and take the mark, and he does, but is Sakaver just shy of a 20, and a bit of a mirrored set there that time from the Sea Eagles there, from the Eels last set.
Yeah, I'm surprised these guys have got any gas left in the tank already. Both teams are getting great yardage from their exit sets. Yeah, I'd say there'll be some lapses in the defensive line soon, and we should see a try shortly.
Well, might not be from this one, as that one was a very flat offload there from Belova. The Manly line was still in retreat there. They weren't sure on how to handle Patrick Belova. They probably could have maintained where they were and would have been a less threatening option here. Here's McDonald. McDonald puts one about 7 meters high and 7 meters back. And Ethan Goodwin is quickly wrapped up where he stands after an easy catch, but nowhere to go there in a handover. Square Junior now immediately breaks through the line, is immediately injecting himself into this one as he breaks into Eels territory. Nearly has himself a second coast-to-coast run and essentially has been the setup man for them. Here goes Kennard-Wall now for a break after the defense tried to come in on Morrison. There wasn't much going there, though. Now Wilson, he'll fire out to James Reese. Reese with a bit of a slow start, though, not going to get very far before he's brought down by Gould alongside Jack Jimmy. Wilson fires out to Lewis. Lewis now for Cody Og. Cody Og, oh, he loses it. I think he tried to fire an offload off there, and it was intercepted by Driscoll. And Driscoll with a huge takeaway there. And now the Eels survive yet another scare as Manly were threatening in their own red zone.
Yeah, great timing there by Luke Driscoll. He's always one. He's always on the ball. He's always looking at the ball. He'll get his hands on it any way he can, and saved one there for the Eels, I feel.
Yeah, and they nearly had a break there with Short, but he wasn't getting too far out that time around as he was quickly contained. Here's Driscoll. He'll take the run of the last. Feel some newfound confidence after some, I'm not sure what I would call it, defensive aplomb perhaps. As now Hayden, he'll try and kick this one to the corner. It was nearly marked in goal, but Square Junior had to take it about a meter in from his own line And he is quickly shoved back as the Eels look to start this set off strong. Cadwell will flick one out for Reese. He's going to get some good post-contact meters. Going up there against, I believe it is Matt Downey before a couple of defenders come in and help him out. Here goes Cody Yogg. Oh, it was Blair Curtin, actually, that was first involved in the tackle. So, pardon me on that. Hunter now fires out for Brad Goodwin. Notably, Brad and Beck Goodwin are playing on the same wing, so we will try and make mention of which one that is when you ever see B. Goodwin down in the bottom right of your picture on who's possessing the ball. As Cash there, forced back on the last, looking for perhaps a 40-20 attempt. Who do they look for with that regard? It's Hunter, but Hunter puts one right down the middle of the field and shortly takes it at his own 40. His forced back is not going to get much of a return, but he has set him up with strong field position thanks to a rugged Eels defense. Belova fires one out there for O'Coxie. It looks like they want to try and set up the interchange, but it's probably a couple of minutes too early for that. Belova there looks inside outside. Then McDonald fires one off to short. McDonald probably had the room himself. Selected to let the fullback play it on the second. Curtin fakes a pass there and realizes that the play is busted, so just takes it on himself. Bit of miscommunication there, and it seems like that's a common theme here through that play, almost through that set, and now they only get 28 meters out of what was a set that pretty much started at inside Manly's half. Of course, there will be that short kick return that, well, was not short by any means. Here goes Square Junior, though. He finds a gap. He's right through the Eels defense. They're nowhere to be found. Eventually is going to be brought to ground there, but the Eels defense is scrambling back. Wilson now takes advantage of the not square marker. Now taking on Jack Jimmy. It is inside the Eels 30. Square Junior into acting half. Hunter now. Inside ball for Og, but not really doing much there. Almost an outside inside moves. Wilson scoots again, fires an absolute miracle ball that somehow Kenneth Wall attaches himself onto. He drags the ball right down to the 10 and forces the Eels to stand on their own line. They break a little awkwardly as they're not sure who wants to go up and who wants to stay back and defend their fortress. 94 meters gained on this set. They've gone coast to coast here, the Sea Eagles. Kenneth Wall looks for Hunter to put the kick up instead. It's hanging there in the air for so long. It's Brad that comes down with it. He forces his way through one and it's over. There was no scramble in defense from the Eels to try and stop him, and Brad Goodwin scores.
What a try, what a try. If I was Anthony McDonald at the moment in the huddle behind the post, I'd be telling my boys, do not kick the ball to Marcus Square Jr. He is just making incredible yardage. And then on the other wing, you've got Goodwin as well. I don't know what they're going to be doing. Who are they going to kick it to? Everyone's dangerous tonight.
I got to wait till Hal Stewart comes on maybe, because it seems like Goodwin was just there and ended up making the best of a really awkward situation. It seemed like he was just going to be tackled where he was, but he just fends through one and he just finds it because they're trying to set up to already launch themselves into attack. They end up having a lot of gaps, and as a result, Brad Goodwin, after being benched last game, ends up proving his worth and has put Manly up 12. Thanks to also bringing back kick in field. Conversion, no trouble for the Sea Eagles. Short to get us away again. Of course, it was Hunter that converted it. I'm going to recall it for a moment. Here's Morrison. Morrison decides he'll just take the run up himself and immediately met there by Curtin. Now Cody Ogg. Not going to get very far either. Well, a good charge there he will. Eventually brought to ground. Now for Cash. He'll try and take another one-up run. They're not really looking to move the ball on this occasion. He's trying to keep things tidy, but we're not really using Matthews and Windmill Ski, who I believe have come on in relief of Jordan Lewis and Jesse Bennett. There he is now, Windmill Ski. His first touch, he gets a nice line break and he fends away from short, but it's given him enough time to just about get some scrambled defense in there. But once again, the Eels being put on the back foot here, but it is the last, so Kenneth Wall will just have to put in a vicious kick down. A lot of pace there, and it ends up being fielded there by Goodwin. He breaks through one, but a good kick chase down to make sure he's not getting anywhere fast. He's short now with a little spin move. He tries to fend his way through another tackle, but nothing doing on that occasion, but he gets a solid 10 meters. Curtin now waits for the ball to set up. Hayden there for McDonald. McDonald gives a big don't argue. Ends up needing another pair of defenders to try and bring him to ground. Tackle 5 short of halfway. Curtin a very nice scoot. The line was up very quickly though from the Sea Eagles, and it wasn't going to get far. How quickly Manly have been up in defense, ready to make a tackle. Here's Simon Hunt. His come in here as the starter now. Previously was Seamus O'Coxey, but instead has been starting in the centers. Barisic here on the last as well. He's come on for Gould. There's a kick. Oh dear, where on earth is Brad Goodwin going? What on earth is that? It's got to somehow escape into the field of play. I was almost speechless there for a moment as it looked like he wanted it to roll dead, but it just absolutely parks itself in the in-goal area, and he nearly ended up conceding a try, but thankfully he's been let off a hook there, and with Charlie Matthews, a strong run there to make sure that they aren't going to be pinned down inside their own 10. Oh, I thought there was maybe going to be a marker not square infringement called there, and another 6 more. But instead, just going to be tackle free. Here's Windmill Skeed now. He tries to take on the line. This will be an easy tackle there eventually, and a one-on-one from Barisic. James Reese, he'll take the one up. He's wrapped up there by Curtin, and there's a rather large size disparity for the diminutive Reese. 20 being attempted here by Kenneth Wall. It looks like the winger will have it safely. Yes, Goodwin has enough of an opportunity. Of course, Ethan, one on number 5 for Parramatta, Bradford number 5 for Manly, that has already scored a try, and Manly just seem to have everything in control for the moment here, even after that brief scare.
Yeah, they're controlling things well, aren't they? They're knowing when to settle, and they're knowing when to expand as well, and that's the key sometimes. Sometimes you're always wanting to push that extra pass, and that's when you can make errors. So after 9 errors last week, I think Manly have learnt some lessons, and they're looking good tonight.
Yeah, it's Curtin now. He tries to take a scoot, but the defense well up for it. They'll look for Beloved to put the kick in. It's right down to Square, who feels it at the 10. Again, the kick chase just looks fragmented there. They're just giving up a few too many gaps for Square Jr. Probably could have given him 5 or 10 less meters. Instead, he'll be tackled shy of a 30, and Windmill Ski brings it up to shy of a 40. And at Wall now. Late pass out there for Morrison. Had a gap. Tried to throw one out there to Square Jr., but here's well wrapped up there by Ethan Goodwin. Wilson will look to Kenneth Wall, and Kenneth Wall eats a shot out of the line there from Matt Barisic. That'll mean Prakash will put in a 40-20 attempt. It looks to skirt the sideline. It looks very good indeed. Luke Short holds himself up. Does not want to go into touch, and so he has to cut a little more in field. Would have perhaps been put into the stands there by Square Jr. Did not want to risk it, and ends up just bringing it into the field of play instead. Back Jimmy now with a solid post-contact run here. They look to set up on the short side. Beloved now for Barisic. Barisic takes on Square. They want to try and exhaust him after he's already put in such a hard effort in these first half an hour. Here goes Short now. Tries to take on Reese. He's trying to get that arm extended to try and push him off, but nothing doing there. The Manly support defenders bring him down. Here goes Barisic now out for Hayden. Hayden for Hunt. Hunt's not going to get much here either. He's tackled just inside the Manly 40. Curtin will flick one out for Hayden. He'll look to put one in the air. Easily taken here by Brad Goodwin, but not looking to send anything cross-field towards Square Jr. They've already been punished enough. Try and end things on the right side, perhaps. Bailey Wilson now out for Aaron Hunter. Hunter for Og. Og already looking pretty exhausted thus far with how much he's put in, but it's been a solid effort all around here from the Sea Eagles. Here goes Hunter. Hunter, a late ball there for Morrison. Morrison wrapped up there by Jimmy. Needing a little bit of help there, but eventually brought him down. Tackle free here, just past the 30. Oh dear, they've busted that play open, and no one seems to want to pick it up. And Charlie Matthews is pounced upon by Curtin. He nearly have a ball for himself. Now they're going to be probably locked down inside the 20 here. Even more than that, nearly over 15, only 10 meters, thanks to that awful fourth tackle play. Wilson will look for Kenneth Wall, and Kenneth Wall just look to try and get it out of danger. It ends up being taken there by Speedman. As he goes right by, and he beats Morrison too. A poor tackle force results in a bad tackle 5 kick, and Cooper Speedman might have just brought them back within one score.
Yeah, you can't afford to be making errors like that out of a ruck and passing the ball 40 metres backwards and putting yourself in 20-40 territory. The kick there just went to the wrong man, and Cooper Speedman He's an incredible athlete. Great try.
Yeah, it looked like it was going to initially be Luke Shaw to field it, but I think Speedman actually called him off and said, let me have this one. And Shaw just ended up backing up out of it, perhaps just making sure that Speedman didn't end up making a meal of it, but Speedman ended up just making him pay, just ran off with it. And Morrison, I think, was meant to be there to try and be that secondary kick chase in case he beat the primary line, but it was just too late in responding. And as a result, Manly end up now still up, but only up by one possession.
I'd be a happy man if I was Anthony McDonald right now, just getting that try just before halftime, putting yourself back in the game. It's a great psychological thing to have going into halftime.
Always helps to carry in that last score, and he's probably going to be calling for the superset here. Just try and push that advantage. They probably could have put a little bit of a wind out of Manly with that gut punch. And now they're going to try and just send 1-ups and 2-ups runs to really force the issue here against the forward pack. Here goes Hayden. Now for inside ball for short. They try and look for an option out of that, but nothing doing. What has been the main target man for the Eels attack, but not on that occasion. It ends up being Driscoll here, who fends through Morrison, breaks another tackle, got an offload away from McDonald. McDonald didn't have enough time to look for a second option, but already they've brought themselves right into the Manly red zone. Curtin now, short ball for Hayden. Hayden, a fast grubber there for James Reese. They try and dive upon it. I think it was Barisic that lunged himself forward to try and use his momentum to go across the line, but he ended up finding nothing but air. Manly escaped that scare, even though that very well could have ended up being right into the basket of Barisic. Here's Matthews now again after that early pickup. Ends up being forced back, though, about a quarter of the way up the field now. Wilson for Morrison. Is going to be easily forced back as well. The Eels defense is strong now. They're winning the war at contact. Here goes Prakash. He's going to end up getting a little bit of an advantage this time around, but they're not going to get past the 40, and it looked like McDonald there had come up hurt. It's Kenneth Wall now, a little kick away. Just outside the 30 there is Speedman. Looks like McDonald's trying to rush off the field here. As a try and have someone else in attack, but it's meant that there's no real support here. It ends up being, I believe, Gould now that's come on in response. It's Monster Mash. Actually, here's the other one that's come in here, I believe, to replace McDonald. They just done the usual interchange alongside it because he is Downey on the field and he flicks one off to Gould and the line is retreating. They don't want any part of him. He ends up being forced back, though, for post-contact, but really, why are they trying to push themselves back when they could just go forward and meet them in the middle? Here's Jack Jimmy now. He'll center it up here, allowing them options on either side. Manly has to remain spread to try and look for any attack to be stopped in this final minute. Hayden will look to the right edge towards where Brad Goodwin is lurking, and he gets underneath it. He gets away from one, but is going to be brought down just shy of a 10, and I wouldn't expect Manly to try too much here, given their field position. And we'll just look to give it to Prakash to be the man to settle it down as we'll go to halftime with Manly leading 12 points to 6. And welcome back here to this second half of action to open round 4 of SRL 2.0. The Parramatta Eels did get a late one to bring this to a one-score game, but it is still Manly in front looking for that first win. Lucas said Max Talpoke with you for this one. And Max, while the Eels have been better when they need to be, it has resulted in not really having anyone that's been a big breakout star for them in this game. Luke Shaw and Cooper Speedman have been there, but they haven't really been that impactful.
Yeah, I think another key man is Blair Curtin. He stood out last week, 2 tries, incredible running meters. I think we need to see him step up a bit now, especially around the middle with McDonald gone off injured. Got Munster Mash there playing in the lock role. Yeah, I think they're going to have to fire up there, the Eels.
Yeah, thankfully McDonald has been okay enough, but he has been in the locker room, and I'm sure he has been very outspoken about how frustrating it's been to be able to watch him at sidelines. But, he'll probably try and say, like, do it for me, boys. Let's rally around me. While Manly, it's been pretty much a Marcus Square Jr. show. He has 200 running meters, but no score to show for it. It's been Brad Goodwin and Nathan Kennedy-Wall would have the tries that have pretty much come off of his running, as here's James Jonathan now getting his first injection into the game. It's going to be more of the same, I feel, if they aren't able to really change their tactics here, Parramatta. Just good defense through the middle, but perhaps not able to contain the edges, not really having anyone that's launching themselves through, as Tyler Hayter there, a long kick, but it's not really any silent. It just means that Morrison is able to field it on a hop. Whereas for Manly, they've been the team that's been able to break through the line a little bit more alongside those edges. They've been missing a few more tackles, primarily due to Lennox Prakash and Charlie Matthews. See if they can clean that up here, as Hunter with a run on the second tackle. Stuart Sasser there is into the acting half role. Nathan Kennedy-Wall is able to force his way past one, but is eventually tackled just past halfway. Lewis now trying to give a solid run through the middle, and a lot of good post-contact meters being gained there against Filippo Gould. Here's Cody Ogg now. Ogg with a little bit of a gap. He breaks through and is forced short into the tackle here. It probably means it's going to have to go in at first mark, or is going to have to quickly run to defend the kick. Hunter now, quick ball in field. It comes off the legs of Matt Downey. He barely escapes into the field of play. Gives an absolutely hellacious shoulder there, I believe, to Lewis. And now they get themselves out of danger through Curtin.
It's a great kick there by Aaron Hunter, and but an even better return by Downing there. And yeah, I love seeing props with quick feet like that getting to the ball.
Yeah, he nearly made a meal of it, but thankfully did end up escaping and was able to lay a hit on for his trouble as well. He gets it here on the 4th following the offload there from Munster Mash, but let's see how much that game plan has been changed here. Here's Belova now. He gets a great 40-20 attempt away. Does it land? It does. They're not even going to bother trying. A great 40-20 from Belova has put them in fantastic field position. Even having been away from the training ground, Belova has been a huge impact player with that kick. Perhaps that's just what he's been working on, even with the inability. As here goes Ethan Goodwin, right through past Square Junior. It says, anything you can do, I can at least put one on the board. And now a 2-point game with a tough kick to come.
Yeah, the good ones must be having some sort of in-house competition. Who can score the most tries in this game? And they're putting them, there's one on each side of the get. One from Brad Goodwin for the Eagles, and now we've had one from Ethan.
Yep, now just Ben needs to get involved here as Luke Short's kick. It needs to come back, and it has. A great kick there from Luke Short. He looks pretty chuffed with himself, knowing how difficult that was to hook back, and now we are tied at 12 apiece. Hunter will get us back underway once more following that great 40-20 attempt for Patrick Belova. Again, another player that will have no real active impact on the score sheet when you look at that, but we know the impact that he had with that great kick. An immediate response there. They ended the first half strong, and they started this second half strong with a try for the first 8 minutes. Here's Tyler Hayden now. He loves that 40-20 attempt as well. He tried one earlier on, but didn't quite pan out, and Morrison was able to field. He ends up receiving it again. We'll look for Short. Short, another perhaps an advisable ball. Spearman nearly right in front of our cameraman there. Nearly up in the touch. Now Driscoll, he takes it on the second receiver and tries to force his way through, but eventually his legs get collected and there's nowhere left to go. Last tackle here for Parramatta. Hayden will just have to put up the high ball. It looks like a pretty decent kick chase here, but they gave him a little bit too much space for my liking. Luke Short has to come in and act as the secondary kick response, perhaps. Now Reese, he'll take that ball as Short retreats back into his usual fullback role. It's Sasser now. He fires it off for Kennedy-Wall and then Morrison. Quickly out to Square Junior. They worked well through the hands, but didn't really pressure the line, so easily dealt with that time around as Reese is floored there. And that was a flawed attempt at trying to get through. Here's Stewart now for Prakash. Prakash tackled pretty much right in the center of the ground there, so everyone can have a good look at the Manly side, not really able to gain effective meters Hunter now off a long ball down to Speedman. Speedman takes it about 6 out from his own line. He gets a little bit of a ways through the defense, but he's eventually brought down after about a 20-meter kick return. Now out for Downey. He tries to force his way through the middle. No real options for offloading as is met arm in arm. Burton will look to his open flank with Jack Jimmy getting the ball there from Belova. No real options again, though, and only just a simple 10 meters below the late ball there for Mash. Again, Anthony McDonald is currently watching from the sidelines. He did not expect to be on the bench, but now he has to wait and see how this team will react without him. How do they do under their vice captain's guidance? Curtin then nearly up to the 30 off of the scoot. It'll force, I believe that is Belova into acting half. We'll look for Simon Hunt to make the kick. He likes to go cross field. I don't think they really expected that. Goodwin's right near the line. Brad's going to be tackled over it. What a great play from Simon Hunt. It's just forced Brad Goodwin to make an attempt because he knows that there could be a chance of the Eels to try and get one over on him. And Simon Hunt, of all the people to make a kick, and some great work there by James Jonathan as well, combining there to make the stop. And, well, so much for a good kick return. Here's Jack Jimmy now. His tackle, they rule him short. He was right over the line there. Kern just decides to crash over. They didn't realize it. The ball was clear, and they just waited. And now Blair Curtin is over.
Yeah, well, I'd like to go back to Simon Hunt because that kick, after being benched during the week, he's gone out and said, look at me, I've got a skill set and I'm willing to use it. And to find turf when you're doing those kicks on the last tackle is hard work, and for that to work out like it did, give them another set and then have Blair Curtin punch over for a try. What a series of events that took place in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah, now Parramatta with a huge boost of momentum there. It was Cooper Speedman that combined with James Jonathan as Brad Goodwin. He just realized that, wait, hang on, if I let this go, we could see Cooper Speedman just do a nice little run on through Anthony Don style and bring that one over. So he had to field it, and he'd come in field because he was expecting the kick to be more toward the center of the park. I don't think he expected where Hunt was going, and a little bit of tactical masterclass as well. Of course, Goodwin had the try that would have had them up at half time. And now Hunt has put in the kick that resulted in the Eels being up right now. So two players that got the starting opportunity and are absolutely making the most of it. As Gould now pushing just up to the 30 before his brought down. Of course, they have been given second half opportunities as well. Would have expected, or rather, Simon Hunt had been on the bench, so he had his opportunity. I think those mixed up, and I do apologize. Simon Hunt was benched with Sam Cox, perhaps just saying, well, maybe we just have more of an impact as a substitute. Think, Andrew Trossards. Here's Hayter now. He'll kick from outside the 40 following a rather milquetoast set, and Brad Goodwin seemed afraid to catch a ball in the air, and instead he just decided to take off himself. Beats one, beats two with a goose, and now he ends up drawing a 6 more there from Speedman when he was eventually brought down. Here's Prakash. He tries to force his way through and nearly to halfway before he's eventually brought to ground there. Tough tackle being made there, and that was from Monster Mash, who of course has to come in early. Anthony McDonald was injured. Canada Wall now, just past the 40. Sasser over for Hal Stewart. Stewart now trying to take on the line here with Gould. Eventually is brought down right on the 30, but it opens up the attacking kick option if they go on the last. Sasser look to go one, instead through the long ball out to Og. Og now past the 20. Is going to be tackled just past it. Where do they look in terms of a kicking option? It's Hunter. Hunter high in the air. They're waiting right at the in-goal area, and even Goodwin has it. It'll be a 7-tackle set. Well done there by Parramatta to make sure that they quell that threat of the game being tied with that kick right near the posts.
Yeah, just an inch too long there from Aaron Hunter. Great kick. It looked like a great kick, but Goodwin was there to clean up, and now we've got a 7-tackle set coming up.
Yeah, it was going to be a tough contest there from where Goodwin was, but ends up just calmly making the jump to take the catch. Just got to keep things fundamentally sound. And that's what the Eels need to do with that 6-point lead. Curtin now, fires it out for Driscoll. Driscoll takes on Sasser, getting a lot of great meters here in that 4 phase of play for tackle 3. He goes Hayden now over for James Jonathan. Jonathan's not going to get much, though, as he's quickly forced back by Beck Goodwin. Really been involved too much, of course. We kind of expect that here in the SRL, with most centres not really having much of a run of play, but we've seen it before with Dylan Murray. And he had a great game for the Rabbitohs in the opener. Curtin now will fire one out there for Belova, who had all the time of the world to get that kick away, and he ends up targeting Marcus Square once again. He jugged by one, and then tackled by Short right on the 30-meter line. 16 minutes gone in this one. Can Manly find a game-time response here on this set? Here goes James Reese now, fully involved in the tackle on that little short side raid as they quickly make their changes. Get away from them. Here goes Morrison now. Morrison forced back. His legs were moving well, but just losing the battle of the center of gravity. Here's Bennett looking to push his way through again, but not getting very far there against Gould and Curtin. Curtin had to take the long way around of the play the ball, though. Quick one-up play for Og goes away from him. But there's not much to be offered there. He's tackled 35 shy. Hunter off the outside of the boot. Simply taken there by Speedman. Speedman dances by Goodwin and gets by Morrison. Brad Goodwin launches. He's not going to get him. The Speedman, his speedy man, he's going to get over and give the Eels a 10-point lead with very likely 12. The double for Cooper Speedman.
Yeah, what a try. It's looking good for my weekly tips. But I shouldn't be selfish on that one. I just enjoyed that try. Speedman, he is the Speedman. It looked like he could have got run down by Jacob Morrison, but Morrison took his dive too early, and that's cost them 6 points.
Yeah, he really ended up making a meal of that. It was Morrison that did end up trying to come through, but he just got beaten. And then Goodwin, it was Brad Goodwin rather, that was there to try and make the diving stop, but he just goes way too early on, and he ends up just being left in the dust.
Oh, yes, look, Goodwin. Sorry, my apologies to Morrison there.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a lot of choice words being used on the field there, words that I can't repeat, or else I will be fined by the federal whatever we have here. We'll get a channel demonetized. That's it. Here we go with the Eels now, trying to make some great impacts here with Jack Jimmy just going through an Eels defense, or Seagulls defense rather, but looked more like cells at work rather than a solid defensive line. Here's Luke Short now. They're already have a 35. A superset again from the Eels. Perhaps McDonald will be feeling better about being on the sidelines here. Here goes Bourbon. He gets a good involvement here. He looked to Speedman. Speedman wants the hat trick. He made Goodwin miss again. Brad, that is. But Beck that time did make the tackle and was absolutely forceful in it as well. Here goes Luke Driscoll nearly to the line here. They'll have to get a quick kicking option away here. Kearns into acting half. They go to Hayden. Hayden, a quick bounce. It goes off the post. Was that on the full? It was on the full. How was that on the full? I'm puzzled. I don't know how it ended up taking that bounce off the post and ended up higher in the air, but physics has always been a mystery to me. 7 tackles set here for the Seagulls. Sasser immediately goes out of acting half and gets a lot of running room as the Eels look to scramble back. Short has to come in to make the tackle. Gets a little bit of assistance there from Bourbon. Back Goodwin into acting half after the Sasser scoot. Now here's Bailey Wilson. Wilson with a great burst. Has to get some assistance there from Bourbon before he's able to be brought down. They look to Brad Goodwin going past back. James Jonathan, they're able to bring him down, but Jonathan won't be in this side for very long if memory serves. Here goes back Goodwin now. Little jink and looks off to Wilson. Wilson tackled 15 shy of the line. Of course, he's come in as a prop forward. He's not the number 9 you expect. That's Sasser in acting half. Onto the high ball. Who's underneath it? It's a back for Sasser. He fends off one. There's 2 more there to bring him down. And a great stop by the Eels. The back play didn't work that time, and they shut them down at least for the moment.
Man, they need a strong defensive set here. They need to really keep the Eels down here if there are any chance of scoring next.
They will need a strong case of post-contact devilry. Here goes Jack Jimmy. He fends through one. He gets a little offload there off to O'Coxie. They're retreating again. They're really not certain on how they want to try and deal with those offloads. Now for Belova. Oh, that's surely forward and correctly called. Belova just tried to throw one out there and it was just way too errant. Not something that you should be throwing out there with a 2-score lead and 12 minutes to play. Here goes Beck Goodwin now. Takes on James Jonathan. And a heavy wrestle and eventually gets inside the 20 before being brought to ground. Sassa will go short side raid. Oh, gets off hands. And Hayden is there to swoop it up. It's only rule tackle 1 there. But it was an error there from Manly. Speedman nearly through, but could not get past a pair of Manly defenders before being brought down. Driscoll now in field. Fends through one tackle of Sassa. Eventually going to be brought down just past his own 40. Kurtenbauer looked to scoot. Instead fires one off for Jack Jimmy. Tried to get them coming away from that right edge, but he held firm on that occasion. Look to center it up here for Hayden. Hayden, oh, he floated one right in front of him for Luke Short. And a second forward pass for Parramatta. They just look in all sorts of a moment. Here goes Morrison now. Short trying to cut him off of the pass. A great step. A man misses. They try to get back to him. They won't do it. Morrison takes care of back-to-back forward pass errors and makes the difference now. Only 8 and a good chance for it to be 6.
Yeah, it's an opportunist game now, isn't it? Things start to get sloppy in this final sort of 20, 15 minutes. We're in the last 10 minutes now and it's starting to get really sloppy. 2 forward passes within just as many minutes. And then you've got opportunists like Jacob Morrison saying, hey, you give me the ball, give me a bit of open space, I'll make something happen. And he's clawing his way back into this game for the Manly Sea Eagles.
Yeah, you can see how ecstatic Aaron Hunter is about that. He's 3 for 3 so far. Now a huge
I'm ecstatic too. I've got Aaron Hunter in my SRL fantasy team, so happy man.
Well, unfortunately, I haven't been participating in the extracurriculars, but thankfully for Manly, they have an opportunity to at least send this to Golden Point if they can score within the final 9 minutes and keep Parramatta out. Maybe there'll be a little bit more after that, or perhaps the Eels will look for a 1-pointer here just to make it a 7-point difference. It could be a huge one if they end up deciding to go for that field goal. Here's Hunter now, forcing his way forward. Eventually is going to get just inside the 40 before he's brought to ground. They won't look for the 40-20 here, but if it's a short run, they might end up doing it. Sassa, oh my goodness, Filippo Gould just looked like he took a JBL lariat that time. And it ends up being 6 more here as Bourbon's holding down too long. Manly are suddenly becoming a huge beneficiary of the Eels' ill discipline in this last 20 minutes. Perhaps they need Anthony McDonald's leadership. Here goes Sassa. Oh, Bourbon. He didn't like the curtain got offend, and he ends up just flattening him. He was steamrolled, and Morrison goes nowhere. While Manly look lost, Parramatta just seem like they don't know what they're doing. It's complete SRL chaos right now. And Sassa just says, let me just take for one up run. Short came up there, interestingly. Perhaps he just wanted to be up in the line, knowing that there could be a quick break. It's Hunter. Hunter takes on his man. He tries to get by Hayden. He's not going to do that. Bourbon there to sweep the legs. But they've gone all the way out now. Prakash will put up the bomb. Who's underneath it? There's a man in goal. It's tapped in the air. It's Prakash off his own kick. And Manly might very well have tied it with 5:45 to play.
I don't know how that happened. Are there 2 of them out there? What a try. What a try by Lennox Prakash.
I don't know who was it. It might have been Brad Goodwin who had come in off a wing. And it may have gone forward off of it, but they're saying try confirmed. Perhaps it was just juggled there by one of the Eels players. I didn't really get a good look from the replay, but Hunter has tied it. It was never going to be troubled about that because they're not playing Union. And it is now 24-24. This is the next score wins now, isn't it, Max?
Yeah. That's just exciting stuff. This is why we love SRL footy, because you're just always on the edge of your seat, aren't you? Anything can happen. And again, it's proven we're going to have a nice tight game. Open the round.
5 minutes left to play. Manly Warringah Sea Eagles have not won a game yet in this 2.0 iteration of the SRL. On the Rugby League 26 rules, Logan Strange will try and take a run here. He's been seldom involved thus far, but he ends up getting a late run on here. Here's Kenneth Wall, fires an effort Morrison, Bender Square Jr., who's been quiet this second half after a very strong first half, is brought down 5 shy of halfway. Kenneth Wall fought about the 40-20, just elected to take the run. He sets himself up just about at the 40. Do they take another step in field? They don't. It's Bennett now for Bailey Wilson. Wilson just past the 40. He's going to be brought down. There's a 2-point field goal option here if they do decide to take it. They'll go to Kenneth Wall. No, he doesn't elect to try for the score. He believes in his defense to get a stop here, but they've gone to Ethan Goodwin. He ends up just getting past the 20. He's not going to get very far. Thanks to some strong containment defense there from James Reese. Gould, risky ball there. Called flat there by the touch judges. Seamus O'Coxey, they nearly gave up a third forward pass in this final 20 minutes, and that could have been absolute curtains given the field position. Here's Bourbon now, just trying to center one up. Curtin takes a scoot. He ends up taking a bit of a stutter step. He is eventually going to be brought... I'm losing my words here. A couple minutes to go, Belova, he fakes again. He doesn't have many options here. He wanted to get rid of it, but no one seemed like they wanted the football. This might be the last set here for the Sea Eagles. It'll depend on what they do for Simon Hunt. Hunt with a booming kick. It's down to Walt Square Jr. He's got so much open air, but it's going to be met by his first tackler and brought to ground. 23 meters out, 77 meters to go here, 77 seconds to go here. Will this end up going to a golden point? Or rather extra time. I'm not actually sure if we go to golden point here in SRL 2.0. We'll have to wait and see. Here's Hunter. Hunter with a nice run up the middle. I'm not sure if the Eels are even going to get a chance to get the ball again. 45 seconds left now. Wilson just takes a one-up run. He doesn't look for anything too risky. They need a break here, but it's 6 more tackles. That might be the break they need because it means they don't have to worry about kicking on the last. Here they go, 18 seconds left, 15 seconds left. They might have one play. Hunter, they go for a run here. It's back Goodwin. They're not going to have time. This is going to go to golden point. Well, you paid for 80 minutes of football. You're going to get more than that. The Parramatta Eels of a Manly Warringah Sea Eagles. Manly haven't won an SRL game so far. Parramatta only won one last week against, well, I forget who they actually faced. Well, either way, the Eels here at CommBank Stadium, they need this win to go back to 500, 2-2. Manly need this for their first win. It'll be the Eels to start things out here with Tyler Hayden. He'll take the first run. This is golden point, as we can see. GP1. Next score wins. Anything will do here. Gould now out for Bourbon. They're going to have to run with pretty much a complete lack of interchanges. And don't forget, Manly are running 17 strong. The Eels are a man down. Anthony McDonald out for the game. We've been uncertain of what the injury was, but he's been unable to participate.
We've had some difficulties in the box, but here I am. I'm stepping in as Jack Carl right here. Take you down to the final 3 minutes of Golden Point. The Eels, they survived that chance. I'm surprised the Manly Seagulls, they didn't go for a field goal on that play. It was the prime opportunity. Jim Bourbon gets the flick pass off to Filippo Gould. He fends off one. Jacob Morrison's there to make the tackle. The Eels, they're going to be in a brilliant attacking position here to put the field goal, to put this game to bed. As Luca mentioned earlier, the Eels, they need this to go 2-2. Manly, will they go 0-4? SRL betters, you're hanging on for dear life because SRL bet 3 is not looking good right now with this position from the Eels. They're lined up to the left. Who's it going to be? It's Tyler Hayden who goes for the field goal, and he nails it. They lost by a point a few weeks back. They win by a point this time. The Manly Seagulls slumped to 0-4. Last place on the ladder. Oh, I think the Tigers might still be behind them based on for and against, but they have the most losses. Obviously, this being our kickoff round, our kickoff game of the round. Run you through some stats. Cooper Speedman with a double. Ethan Goodwin and Blair Curtin, the other Eels try scorers. Brad Goodwin, Lennox Prakash, Nathan Kennard-Wall, and Jacob Morrison. Manly side of the ball. Possession evenly split. High completion rates from both sides. With no penalties conceded. The only one I can really think of is that 6 again. That nearly had Manly in a position to kick a field goal. They didn't take most of it though. Tackles the same, missed tackles about the same. A little bit of a discrepancy. Eels missing 5 more. Manly making 7 more line breaks, and the meters gained are pretty much bang on as well. Running through some of these individual stats now. Big performance from Jack Jimmy, 175 running meters. The line break himself. Cooper Speedman, for how deadly he was, 241 running meters. 4 line breaks, 2 tries. Obviously that double going a long way to helping the Eels. No one really else of mention here. Move over to the Manly Seagulls. Marcus Square Jr. I mean, he was what kept this Manly side in the game today. He didn't get a try. I thought he deserved it, but every time the ball went down to him, you just kind of expected something. And those numbers show that. 260 running meters, 7 line breaks for the bald-headed man out on the wing. And not really any interesting stats from anyone else on this Manly Seagulls team. I've been Jack Carl. Commentating earlier today was Lucas Said and Max Tapoke. We're sorry for the technical difficulties, but happy to have closed this one out. See you for the next game.